In a world dominated by endless distractions, noise has become our constant companion. Your phone buzzes relentlessly, conversations never stop, and your mind races from one thought to another without pause. Most people assume that to achieve more, they need to do more, consume more information, multitask harder, fill every moment with activity. But what if everything we've been taught is backward? What if the key to true focus and productivity isn't about doing more, but about doing less? What if the secret to mastering your mind lies not in noise, but in silence? The Stoics deeply valued silence, not as a mere absence of noise, but as a powerful tool for achieving clarity, self-awareness, and mastery over one's emotions and thoughts. Seneca once said, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." He knew that silence wasn't emptiness. It was a state of deep awareness, a space in which you can clearly see yourself and the world around you. In this episode, we'll uncover 10 powerful secrets of silence that will help you unlock an unbreakable focus, boost your cognitive abilities, and transform your life from distracted chaos to clear-headed mastery. By understanding and using silence strategically, you can break free from mental fatigue, sharpen your attention, and reclaim control of your life. Let's get started. 1. The science behind silence and cognitive function. Most people underestimate silence. They assume silence is simply the absence of noise, empty space without purpose or value. But in reality, silence isn't empty at all. It's a powerful force that sharpens your mind and strengthens your brain. Modern science has begun catching up to what ancient Stoics, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, knew intuitively. Silence doesn't just calm your mind, it literally transforms it. Neuroscientific studies have confirmed that exposure to silence triggers measurable changes in your brain, enhancing your ability to focus, process information, and make better decisions. In fact, research published in the journal Brain, Structure, and Function showed that just 2 hours of silence per day can stimulate the growth of new cells in the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory, learning, and emotional regulation. In other words, silence isn't just good for you emotionally, it's scientifically proven to make you mentally stronger. Think of your brain as a muscle. If you constantly overload it with noise, distractions, and information, it's like constantly lifting heavy weights without rest. Eventually, it will become exhausted and ineffective. But when you give it quiet moments, you allow it to recover, reorganize, and grow stronger. This is exactly what silence does for your mind. It gives your brain a chance to reset and strengthen itself, improving cognitive performance, boosting creativity, and increasing your overall mental clarity. Consider this. Have you ever tried working in a noisy environment? How productive were you really? Chances are you felt scattered, distracted, and mentally drained. Now, contrast that with a moment when you sat in complete silence, perhaps early in the morning or late at night, and suddenly solutions to problems that seemed impossible earlier became clear. This isn't coincidence, it's science. Silence activates the brain's default mode network, a complex system linked to problem-solving, introspection, and creativity. When you're in silence, your brain literally works differently. It becomes sharper, more innovative, and capable of deeper insight. Yet, despite knowing these facts, most people run away from silence. They fill every quiet moment with noise, TV in the background, podcasts playing, endless scrolling. Because silence feels uncomfortable, they are afraid to face their own thoughts. But the Stoics saw silence differently. They recognized it as a tool to gain control over their minds. Epictetus famously taught, "No person is free who is not master of themselves." Silence isn't merely the absence of noise. It's the space in which you master your mind, clarify your thoughts, and become deeply aware of who you truly are. If you genuinely desire unbreakable focus, start seeing silence as your ally, not your enemy. Begin by dedicating intentional periods each day to silence. Start with 5 minutes of quiet each morning. No devices, no music, no interruptions. Just you and your thoughts. Notice how quickly your mind starts to reorganize itself, how much clearer your thinking becomes, how much stronger your focus feels. Once you experience this power, you'll understand why silence is essential, not just a luxury. The great minds throughout history knew this truth deeply. Silence is the birthplace of clarity, strength, and focus. If you truly want to master your mind, start by mastering silence. 2. How mindful pauses increase attention span. Think about the last time you truly paused during your day, not just stopped working or took a break to scroll your phone, but genuinely paused, sat still, and consciously observed your own mind. Most people can't recall a single recent moment like this because they're continuously rushing from task to task, from one distraction to another. They assume that constant activity equates to productivity, never realizing that constant action without mindful reflection only diminishes their ability to concentrate. The Stoics, however, knew the power of intentional pauses, brief moments of silence strategically placed throughout the day. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself, "Stop letting your emotions override your reason. Pause and regain control." These mindful pauses are not merely about rest. They are strategic tools that reset your attention, sharpen your mental clarity, and significantly expand your ability to focus deeply and consistently. Modern neuroscience has proven what the Stoics intuitively practiced. Your attention functions much like a battery. Throughout the day, every decision, distraction, or thought drains a bit of that battery. Without intentional pauses, your mental energy quickly becomes depleted, leaving you scattered, frustrated, and unable to maintain concentration. This explains why, by mid-afternoon, you might find it nearly impossible to focus clearly, even on simple tasks. Mindful pauses act as a quick recharge for this battery. Just a few minutes of intentional stillness, no devices, no distractions, no external input, can restore your mental energy, allowing you to sustain attention far longer and more effectively throughout your day. Researchers at the University of California found that workers who regularly took intentional breaks of silence and mindfulness showed significantly increased concentration levels, better decision-making skills, and reduced mental fatigue compared to those who took breaks filled with distractions. Yet most people resist pausing. They fear losing productivity or appearing lazy. But consider this. Have you ever noticed how your best ideas often come when you're not actively thinking about a problem? Perhaps during a quiet walk, a brief meditation, or simply sitting in silence for a moment. This is no accident. It's exactly how your brain functions best. Mindful pauses aren't breaks from productivity. They are accelerators of clarity and insight. The Stoics embraced these quiet moments deliberately. Epictetus taught his students to frequently pause throughout the day and ask themselves, "Is this action truly necessary? Am I acting with intention or reacting impulsively?" These simple questions force them to recenter their minds, sharpen their attention, and approach their tasks with renewed focus. To apply this practically, try this simple habit starting today. After every hour of intense work or study, take a 2-minute mindful pause. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and observe your thoughts without judgment. Don't try to push thoughts away, just witness them. After a few moments, return to your task with a renewed sense of clarity and intention. Over time, you'll notice your attention span dramatically increasing. Tasks that once felt overwhelming or distracting will become manageable and clear. Your mind will feel less fatigued, less chaotic, and much sharper. Remember, your attention is your most valuable asset. It dictates the quality of your decisions, your productivity, and ultimately, your success. If you protect it, if you train it through deliberate pauses, you can achieve a level of focus and clarity most people only dream of. The Stoics knew this well, and now science confirms it. Mindful pauses aren't merely restful, they are transformative. Are you ready to integrate these mindful moments into your daily routine and elevate your focus to the next level? 3. Using silence to alleviate mental fatigue. In today's hyper-connected world, mental fatigue has become almost unavoidable. You've probably experienced this yourself, the feeling of exhaustion that comes not from physical effort, but from constant thinking, worrying, processing endless streams of information. Most people attempt to manage this fatigue by escaping into distractions, only to discover it makes things worse. But what if the real solution isn't found in escaping through noise, but in retreating into intentional silence? The Stoics understood something crucial. Your mind isn't limitless. Just like a muscle, your mental energy has limits, and constant use without rest leads inevitably to exhaustion. Seneca said it clearly. The mind must be given relaxation. It will rise improved and sharper after rest. He recognized that intentional silence is essential, not just for clarity, but for genuine recovery and renewal. Modern neuroscience backs this up powerfully. Studies show that your brain consumes roughly 20% of your body's energy, despite only making up 2% of your body weight. Every thought, decision, or emotional reaction drains your mental reserves, leaving you feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and mentally sluggish. Over time, without proper mental rest, this fatigue accumulates and significantly reduces your cognitive performance, creativity, and decision-making skills. But here's where silence becomes your secret weapon. Research indicates that even brief moments of intentional silence dramatically reduce mental fatigue by decreasing cortisol, the stress hormone, and allowing your mind's neural pathways to reset and recover. Silence, therefore, isn't just rest, it's mental medicine. Just as your body needs sleep, your mind requires silence to function at its highest capacity. Yet, silence is exactly what most people avoid. Instead, they numb their fatigue with entertainment, social media, or constant background noise, thinking this will restore their energy. But this approach doesn't provide recovery. It simply delays exhaustion, making the inevitable crash even more intense. The Stoics saw clearly what modern science now confirms. The mind's recovery occurs only in quiet reflection, away from distraction, where the brain can fully reset itself. Imagine this scenario. You finish a long, stressful day filled with work, meetings, and endless demands. Instead of immediately diving into more stimulation, television, scrolling your phone, endless conversations, you choose silence. You turn off your devices, find a quiet space, and simply sit for 10 minutes. You don't try to solve any problems or analyze your day. You just let your mind be still. At first, this may feel uncomfortable. Your thoughts will race, your emotions will rise, but gradually something remarkable happens. Your mind begins to calm itself. The mental noise slowly fades, clarity emerges, and your fatigue diminishes. The Stoics knew this truth intuitively. Marcus Aurelius practiced daily silence as a fundamental discipline, recognizing it as necessary mental training. He saw it as essential as physical exercise or healthy eating. If you neglect silence, you are neglecting your most powerful cognitive tool, your mind. To integrate this practice into your daily life, start small but remain consistent. Commit to 10 minutes of intentional silence each evening, especially after particularly draining days. Use this silence not to escape your thoughts, but to observe them, allowing your mind the space it desperately needs to recover and reorganize itself. Over time, you'll find your mental energy improving dramatically, your clarity deepening, and your ability to handle stress becoming more robust. Mental fatigue is not inevitable. It is simply the price you pay for neglecting the power of silence. But once you embrace silence as your daily discipline, you'll unlock a level of focus, clarity, and strength that very few people ever experience. Are you ready to harness silence to alleviate your mental fatigue and reclaim your cognitive power? 4. Turning off digital distractions for deeper thinking. Your mind wasn't designed to handle the constant bombardment of digital distractions. Every notification, every message, every tweet or news update competes for your limited cognitive bandwidth. Most people believe these distractions are harmless interruptions, mere annoyances in a busy day, but in reality, they are far more destructive. They fracture your attention, undermine your ability to think deeply, and severely weaken your cognitive capacity. If you genuinely desire clear, profound thinking, you must confront this harsh truth. Digital noise isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. The Stoics warned against precisely this kind of mindless engagement. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Stop allowing your mind to be pulled around by every new distraction." He recognized that deep, meaningful thought requires sustained attention, uninterrupted focus, and freedom from unnecessary disruptions. Today's neuroscience confirms what the Stoics intuitively knew. Constant digital distraction doesn't just interrupt your focus, it reshapes your brain, weakening your ability to concentrate, think critically, and solve complex problems. Studies from Stanford University reveal something alarming. Frequent multitaskers, those constantly switching between apps, messages, and tasks, have significantly reduced cognitive performance, impaired memory, and lower productivity compared to those who focus on one task at a time. Each notification splits your attention, forcing your brain into continuous, inefficient task switching. The result is a mind that's constantly busy but rarely productive, forever occupied yet never truly focused. So how do you reclaim your capacity for deep thinking? The answer lies in deliberately removing digital distractions. This doesn't mean abandoning technology entirely, but rather taking control of it before it controls you. Think about this. The best ideas, the most innovative solutions, and the deepest insights rarely appear when your mind is scattered. They come during moments of focused clarity, moments free from interruption, when you have the space to think deeply and intentionally. A Stoic would ask, is your digital consumption intentional or is it compulsive? If you constantly react to notifications, you're giving away your cognitive freedom. Epictetus taught, you become what you give your attention to. If your attention is perpetually scattered, your life becomes scattered too. But if you intentionally eliminate distractions, your mind gains power and clarity. Practically, reclaiming your focus starts with creating clear digital boundaries. Begin by setting specific times of the day when your phone is entirely off or in another room. Even 30 minutes of digital free time can dramatically improve your thinking. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Check messages intentionally, not compulsively. When working, consider using productivity tools designed to block distracting websites or apps. Most importantly, cultivate the Stoic discipline of asking yourself before reaching for your phone, does this add value to my life right now? Imagine this scenario. You have a challenging problem at work or in your personal life. Instead of immediately Googling an answer, checking messages, or losing yourself in a digital distraction, you step back and deliberately create silence. You disconnect completely for an hour, allowing yourself space for uninterrupted thinking. Your mind, free from distraction, can finally engage deeply, analyzing the issue, exploring creative solutions, seeing angles you never noticed before. In that silence, clarity emerges, solutions become obvious, and your cognitive power returns stronger than ever. The Stoics knew the incredible strength that comes from disciplined, intentional focus. They recognized distractions not as harmless interruptions, but as thieves stealing your clarity, productivity, and peace. Today, science agrees. The choice is yours. You can remain a victim of constant digital distractions, or you can master them. But know this: your ability to think deeply, to concentrate fully, and to achieve profound insights depends entirely on your willingness to silence the digital noise. Are you ready to reclaim your mind by turning off digital distractions and unlocking the incredible power of deeper thought? 5. Harnessing silence for emotional regulation and stress relief. How often do you find yourself overwhelmed by emotions, anger, anxiety, frustration, feeling as if you're losing control of your own mind? Most people believe emotions simply happen to them, that they are helplessly pulled along by how they feel. But the Stoics understood something profoundly empowering. Emotions themselves aren't the problem. It's our reaction to them that causes suffering. Silence, when intentionally cultivated, becomes your most powerful tool for emotional regulation and stress relief. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He recognized clearly that stress, anxiety, and emotional overwhelm are not caused solely by external circumstances, but primarily by our internal reactions. Modern psychology aligns perfectly with this ancient wisdom, confirming that your response to emotions matters more than the emotions themselves. Intentional silence gives you space to manage these responses, allowing you to maintain control rather than lose it. Neuroscientific studies show that silence profoundly affects your emotional state. When you pause in moments of stress or anxiety, consciously breathing and observing your thoughts without reacting impulsively, your brain shifts out of its reactive mode, dominated by your emotional limbic system, and back into a state of calm, rational awareness governed by the prefrontal cortex. Essentially, silence trains your brain to respond rather than react, building emotional resilience over time. Yet, silence is exactly what most people avoid when overwhelmed. They turn to distractions, social media, television, endless conversations, to numb their emotions rather than confront them. But this avoidance strategy only magnifies stress in the long run. It is akin to ignoring a wound rather than treating it, initially painless, but eventually deeply harmful. The Stoics, however, faced their emotions head-on through intentional silence and reflection. Seneca advised, When angry, count 10 before you speak. If very angry, count 100. This wasn't simply a tactic to delay reaction. It was a strategy to harness silence for emotional clarity. In that quiet space, anger loses its intensity, anxiety softens, and frustration becomes manageable. You regain control of yourself, rather than being controlled by your emotions. To use silence practically for emotional regulation, adopt a simple yet powerful habit. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by stress, anger, anxiety, stop immediately. Withdraw into silence, even if only for 1 minute. Breathe deeply, slowly, intentionally. Observe your emotions without judgment. Don't try to force them away. Simply notice them. As you do this, your emotional intensity diminishes. Your mind regains clarity. Your ability to think rationally returns. Over time, this deliberate use of silence creates remarkable emotional resilience. Situations that previously overwhelmed you no longer hold power because you've learned the invaluable skill of responding calmly rather than reacting impulsively. Stressful scenarios become manageable challenges, not overwhelming threats. Your emotional well-being is no longer at the mercy of external events, but is fully under your control. The Stoics recognized clearly what modern psychology confirms. Silence is your greatest ally in mastering your emotions. It's not about suppressing how you feel. It's about understanding your feelings clearly enough to manage them effectively. Every moment of intentional silence is a moment of strength, emotional clarity, and self-control. Are you ready to integrate silence into your daily life and transform stress and emotional turmoil into resilience, clarity, and calm? 6. Daily rituals to create intentional quiet moments. If you genuinely desire unbreakable focus, silence cannot be left to chance. You can't hope for quiet moments to appear spontaneously in your busy life. Silence must be deliberately created, intentionally cultivated, and consistently practiced. Most people treat silence as something optional, something they'll enjoy if they have spare time. But a Stoic recognizes silence as essential, as fundamental as breathing. Without deliberate rituals for silence, your life quickly fills with noise, chaos, and distraction. Seneca taught clearly, life without deliberate reflection and silence is a life not worth living. To him, silence wasn't optional. It was a daily ritual, a necessity for clarity, emotional strength, and mental sharpness. Similarly, modern neuroscience underscores that regular intentional silence isn't merely restful, it is transformative. Studies show consistently practicing quiet rituals strengthens neural pathways, enhances cognitive function, reduces stress, and builds a powerful resilience against distraction. Yet most people fill every moment with noise. They check their phones first thing in the morning. They fill commutes with podcasts, music, or conversation. Even in their downtime, they seek distractions to escape silence. But imagine instead starting your day differently. You wake up, and instead of immediately reaching for your phone, you spend the first 10 minutes in complete silence. No social media, no news, no email, just quiet stillness. Imagine how different your mornings would feel, how clear-headed you would become, how intentional your actions would be throughout the day. The Stoics recognized the power of ritualized silence. Marcus Aurelius began each day by quietly reflecting on his purpose and responsibilities, preparing his mind for whatever challenges lay ahead. He knew this quiet time wasn't passive rest, it was active preparation. Similarly, ending each day with silence allowed him to analyze his actions, refine his thoughts, and strengthen his focus for the next day. Incorporating daily rituals of silence into your life doesn't need to be complicated, but it must be consistent. Start simply. Commit to 10 silent minutes each morning and evening. Turn off your phone, close your laptop, find a quiet space, and just sit. Observe your mind, notice your emotions, and reflect intentionally. Over time, these quiet rituals will become your anchors, your daily moments of clarity, strength, and discipline. The key here is intentionality. Silence shouldn't feel like a chore or obligation. It should feel sacred. Protect it fiercely. Don't compromise it for convenience or distraction. Remember, the Stoics understood something crucial. The quality of your life is dictated by the quality of your rituals. If your rituals are filled with noise, your mind will reflect chaos. But if your rituals are intentional, deliberate and disciplined, built around silence and deep reflection, your mind will reflect clarity, strength, and purpose. Imagine living a life where every morning starts with clarity, where you enter your day fully in control rather than being dragged by distractions. Imagine each evening ending with reflection, allowing you to refine your thoughts and actions, growing wiser and stronger each day. This isn't an impossible ideal. It's an achievable reality through disciplined, consistent rituals of silence. Your life won't become quieter or clearer by accident. It will happen through intentional choices, deliberate silence, and disciplined practice. Create daily rituals around silence, protect them fiercely, and watch your focus, strength, and clarity skyrocket. Are you ready to transform your life with powerful rituals of intentional quiet? 7. Silent brainstorming. How to unlock superior creativity through quiet thinking. Most people believe creativity requires external stimulation, loud brainstorming sessions, dynamic group interactions, or consuming endless streams of new information. Yet, paradoxically, true innovation rarely emerges in the midst of noise and chatter. Instead, history's greatest breakthroughs have come from moments of profound silence, times when the mind was free to wander, reflect, and make unexpected connections. This is a secret the Stoics understood deeply. Real innovation doesn't flourish amidst noise. It thrives in quiet. The idea of silent brainstorming may sound counterintuitive. How can silence, seemingly empty and passive, produce powerful, groundbreaking ideas? But science backs what ancient philosophers knew instinctively. Studies on creativity from the University of California reveal that the human brain reaches its most innovative state not in constant chatter, but in calm, uninterrupted thought. During silence, your brain shifts into a mode known as default mode network, a state where creativity, complex problem-solving, and innovative thinking naturally flourish. Yet, look at modern workplaces and schools, and you see the exact opposite. Most brainstorming sessions are loud, chaotic, filled with interruptions and pressure to quickly produce ideas. But the Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, understood a different way. Aurelius wrote the entire collection of meditations in solitude, quietly reflecting on deep truths, powerful solutions, and life-changing insights. He knew that silence allowed him to access deeper layers of his mind, free from external pressures or interruptions. Here's why silence works. It allows your subconscious mind to do its best work. While your conscious mind is logical, structured, and linear, your subconscious is limitless, creative, and innovative, but it only activates when you give it space to operate without distraction. Have you ever noticed your best ideas often come when you're doing something quiet and unrelated to your problem, like taking a walk, showering, or simply sitting in silence? That's your subconscious mind at work, quietly weaving solutions that your conscious mind, busy and overwhelmed, cannot see. Yet many still avoid silence because it feels uncomfortable or unproductive. They think action means visible activity, that constant talking and movement means progress. But consider this: the most groundbreaking inventions, the most profound philosophical insights, the greatest creative breakthroughs didn't happen amidst chaos. They emerged from quiet, focused contemplation. Isaac Newton formulated the laws of gravity alone, quietly observing the world around him. Einstein imagined the theory of relativity not in a noisy classroom, but during quiet reflections and solitary walks. This isn't coincidence. It's how the mind is built. The subconscious thrives in silence, working best when given space to wander freely. Yet most people never give their minds that chance. They drown their creative potential in constant distractions, loud opinions, and endless digital noise, never realizing they're blocking their best ideas from ever surfacing. To harness silent brainstorming, start by setting aside dedicated time each day for quiet reflection, away from devices and interruptions. Choose a specific challenge or creative task you're facing, and then simply sit quietly, without forcing solutions, without judgment, without pressure. Allow your mind to explore freely, quietly observing ideas that surface naturally. You'll find that insights begin to flow without effort. Creative connections emerge spontaneously, and problems that once seemed complex suddenly become clear. Over time, integrating silent brainstorming into your routine becomes second nature. Your subconscious mind grows stronger, your creativity deepens, and your ability to innovate becomes effortless. No longer will you rely solely on forced brainstorming sessions or noisy collaboration. You'll discover an internal source of creative power far richer and more sustainable: your own quiet mind. This is the power of silent brainstorming. Not only does it unlock a higher level of creativity, it empowers you to trust your own instincts, insights, and intellectual strength. In silence, your mind reveals its full creative potential. Are you ready to harness the incredible creativity that comes from silence? 8. Be tough on yourself, but kind to others. The true formula for success. True strength lies in mastering yourself, not in dominating or judging others. Many people confuse discipline with harshness, assuming that toughness must be projected outward onto those around them. They judge, criticize, and become frustrated when others fail to live up to their own standards. Yet, the Stoics understood that the harshest discipline must always be self-directed. Marcus Aurelius embodied this truth, writing, "Be strict with yourself and tolerant with others." He recognized that real mastery isn't about asserting superiority. It's about demanding excellence from yourself, while understanding and accepting that others are on their own journey. Most people are quick to give themselves excuses while holding others to impossible standards. They rationalize their own laziness, but condemn others for minor missteps. But the Stoics reversed this mentality. They understood that the only person you can truly control, discipline, and shape is yourself. The moment you begin judging others harshly, you lose your own power. You give away your emotional control, allowing external frustration to steal your internal peace. Marcus Aurelius practiced relentless self-discipline, yet emphasized compassion when dealing with others. He constantly reminded himself, "Be strict with yourself and tolerant with others." Imagine the impact if everyone lived by this principle, holding themselves accountable, yet remaining patient, empathetic, and forgiving of those around them. This is the true formula for success. not just in personal achievement, but in building meaningful relationships, strong teams, and powerful communities. Practically, this principle requires daily reflection and self-awareness. When someone else disappoints you or frustrates you, pause. Before reacting with anger or judgment, remind yourself, their path is not yours. Their mistakes, struggles, and weaknesses belong to them. Your role is not to judge, but to lead by example. Discipline your actions, your words, and your emotions. Hold yourself to the highest standards of conduct, but extend patience and compassion to others. This approach is powerfully illustrated by Marcus Aurelius, who as emperor had every reason to become impatient and harsh. Yet, he consistently reminded himself to be strict with his own flaws, while remaining understanding toward the imperfections of others. In his meditations he wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This attitude allowed him not only to rule effectively, but to inspire genuine loyalty and respect from those around him. Imagine how your life would change if you adopted this Stoic formula. Toughness with yourself, kindness with others. You would no longer waste energy being frustrated with people who don't meet your standards. You'd instead redirect that energy inward, using it to build discipline, clarity, and purpose. You would cultivate self-control while creating an environment around you where others feel supported, respected, and inspired. This is the ultimate goal of Stoicism. Not harshness, not judgment, but quiet, disciplined strength. A strength that doesn't impose itself onto others but inspires them by example. A strength that doesn't need to boast because its results speak for themselves. Are you ready to become tough on yourself, patient with others, and ultimately unstoppable? 9. Failure is not the end. It's your greatest teacher. Most people fear failure as if it were a catastrophe, an indication of their inadequacy or weakness. They avoid it at all costs, playing it safe, never venturing beyond their comfort zones, because they dread the humiliation, disappointment, or rejection that failure brings. But this mentality misunderstands failure entirely. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the path to it. Every great achievement in history, every groundbreaking innovation, every powerful success story was built upon a foundation of repeated setbacks, disappointments, and failures. The Stoics understood this profoundly. Failure is not something to avoid. It's something to embrace, learn from, and leverage. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles and failures aren't merely roadblocks. They are stepping stones toward growth and success. Each time you face a setback, you have a choice. Let it break you or let it refine you. Weakness is born from surrendering at the first sign of difficulty. True strength emerges from facing setbacks head-on, extracting lessons, and pushing forward stronger than before. History is filled with examples of individuals who leveraged failure into strength. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, yet he never viewed it as failure. He simply said he found thousands of ways that didn't work. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he founded, yet he returned stronger and transformed Apple into a global icon. Even Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor, faced countless personal and political setbacks. Yet he saw each difficulty not as defeat, but as an opportunity to refine his character, sharpen his mind, and grow stronger. So, why do most people see failure as devastating? Because they wrongly tie their self-worth to outcomes. When things don't go as planned, they feel personally defeated, rather than seeing it as simply an event from which to learn and adapt. But the Stoics teach us to detach from external results and focus on internal mastery. The question isn't whether you failed, it's whether you extracted wisdom from the experience. Did it make you better, wiser, more disciplined? If yes, then it was never truly failure at all. It was growth. Practically, transforming failure into strength starts with changing your mindset. The next time you encounter a setback, pause and reframe it as an opportunity. Instead of immediately feeling defeated, ask yourself, what lesson is hidden here? This simple question shifts your mindset from victimhood to empowerment, turning every setback into an opportunity for growth. Embracing failure also means building resilience through repeated exposure to difficulty. Most people crumble at their first defeat, but the Stoics trained themselves differently. They intentionally pursued challenging tasks. Not because they enjoyed hardship, but because they knew that each difficulty prepared them for future challenges. Epictetus famously said, "Difficulties show men what they are." Therefore, when a difficulty falls upon you, remember that it has come to test your strength. Every failure you face strengthens your character, sharpens your resolve, and teaches you resilience. To practically integrate this Stoic principle into your life, start viewing failure as milestones rather than setbacks. Celebrate them, not for the mistake itself, but for the clarity, insight, and strength each one provides. When something doesn't go as planned, step back, evaluate objectively, adjust your approach, and try again. Over time, you'll become stronger, wiser, and more prepared for success, simply because you learned how to fail effectively. Imagine the power you'd gain if you stopped fearing failure entirely. Imagine stepping boldly into challenges, knowing that no matter what happens, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. This is what true Stoicism offers: the understanding that failure is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher, your ally on the path to self-mastery. Are you ready to transform your relationship with failure and start embracing setbacks as stepping stones? 10. Embrace chaos, turning uncertainty into your greatest advantage. Most people fear uncertainty. They see chaos as their enemy, something to be avoided at all costs. They spend their lives desperately trying to control every detail, planning obsessively, and panicking when things inevitably don't go as expected. But the Stoics knew that this approach only leads to stress, anxiety, and perpetual disappointment. They understood something deeply empowering. Life is inherently uncertain, unpredictable, and chaotic. You cannot control the external world, but you can control how you respond to it. And the moment you learn to embrace chaos rather than resist it, uncertainty transforms from your greatest fear into your most powerful ally. Marcus Aurelius mastered this principle, famously stating, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This powerful mindset reveals something crucial. Chaos is not blocking your path. It's showing you exactly where you must grow. Every unexpected event, every obstacle, every moment of uncertainty isn't punishment or bad luck. It's training for your character, sharpening your focus, and refining your discipline. Think of how much time and energy people waste trying to avoid uncertainty, endless worrying, overthinking, and trying to predict every possible scenario. But true strength does not come from controlling every outcome. It comes from mastering your response to whatever life throws your way. You cannot predict the future, but you can control how you respond to it. The Stoic doesn't panic when the plan changes. They adapt, shift, and turn uncertainty into their advantage. Consider historical figures like Julius Caesar, who faced countless unexpected setbacks and chaos throughout his military campaigns, yet consistently turned uncertainty into strategic advantages. When things didn't go according to plan, he didn't collapse or complain. He adapted immediately, seizing the moment to achieve even greater success. This wasn't luck. It was discipline, mindset, and clarity, born from the ability to remain calm in chaos. So how can you practically transform uncertainty into strength? Start by shifting your mindset. When things don't go as planned, instead of reacting with frustration or panic, remind yourself of Marcus Aurelius's words. The obstacle is your opportunity. Ask yourself clearly, what skill is this chaos teaching me? How can I use this unexpected challenge to become sharper, wiser, stronger? This simple question shifts your mind from victim to master, empowering you to act decisively instead of passively waiting for the chaos to pass. Next, train yourself daily in the art of adaptability. Instead of resisting uncertainty, deliberately place yourself into controlled chaos. Take on challenges slightly beyond your comfort zone. Embrace experiences that force you to adapt, pivot, and grow. Epictetus urged, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond your control." By willingly confronting uncertainty, you teach your mind resilience. Over time, you develop unshakable confidence, not because you can predict the future, but because you know you can handle whatever comes next. Finally, recognize that chaos itself is inevitable, but your reaction is not. If you train your mind to find calmness within disorder, you become unbreakable. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Uncertainty will always exist. Chaos will always appear. But your strength lies not in avoiding it, but in becoming so adaptable, resilient, and composed that nothing can shake you." Imagine living a life where uncertainty no longer frightens you but excites you, because every unexpected twist brings new opportunities for growth, innovation, and advancement. This is the Stoic way. This is how you turn uncertainty from a threat into your greatest advantage. Are you ready to embrace chaos and turn uncertainty into your greatest source of strength? Silence isn't just an absence of noise. It's your most powerful tool for achieving unbreakable focus, profound clarity, and deep inner strength. The Stoics understood something modern society has largely forgotten. The key to a disciplined, productive, and fulfilling life lies not in endless stimulation, but in deliberate quiet. Through silence, you reclaim your mind from distraction, restore your emotional resilience, and unlock your greatest creative potential. Today, you've uncovered 10 powerful secrets that silence holds for enhancing your life. From the scientific connection between silence and cognitive function, to the practical rituals that allow you to create intentional moments of quiet, each point is designed to transform how you think, focus, and act. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Now it's time to apply these insights deliberately, turning silence from theory into daily practice. Remember, embracing silence means taking control of your attention, protecting your mind from digital distractions, using mindful pauses to sharpen your focus, and seeing failure not as a roadblock, but as a stepping stone. It means understanding that uncertainty isn't your enemy, but your greatest teacher. And most importantly, it means choosing discipline, intentionality, and clarity over chaos, distraction, and impulsiveness. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Silence is how you purify those thoughts, giving yourself the clarity to live intentionally rather than reactively. Your focus, strength, and creativity are waiting to be unlocked. All you need to do is choose silence and let it work for you. So, what will you do right now to integrate silence into your life? Start today. Embrace quiet. Create intentional rituals and reclaim your cognitive freedom. If this episode resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. Which secret of silence do you need to apply most urgently in your own life? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, helping others discover the life-changing power of silence. Until next time, stay focused, disciplined, and deeply intentional. Your journey towards silence and mastery begins now.